Yo, 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 what is up? Happy Tuesday night. Happy trade deadline day. Happy go to the polls day. It's your boy Sterls right here on Inside the Trenches, and I'm joined by my lovely host and guest, Rob Trigilio. What's going on with you, man?
Did you call me lovely?
Lovely today.
Listen, there are a lot of words that you can use to describe me. That is absolutely not one of them.
Sometimes you embezzle the truth.
There is nobody who has ever hung out with me who's been like, I had such a lovely time.
You're like Oscar the Grouch.
That's not true. But
you're not.
No, you think that for some reason.
What are you then? Why don't you go ahead and take a second to explain yourself? What are you, Rob?
All we need to do is look back at past episodes of this podcast to find me being optimistic and you being a grouch. Anybody who watches knows it's not a freaking secret, man.
What do they say? People who are typically negative, what do they say? I'm just a realist.
Yeah, I am a realist.
See, you just admitted to being negative.
So then that begs the question. If you want to do this, we can do this. That begs the question.
What are we doing?
The reality of this world, this life. Do you think most things are positive or most things are negative?
That's a loaded question. Do you want to open Pandora's box on the air? I would say both things are negative.
If you are negative sometimes.
The truth is typically negative.
Right. So then it makes sense that you say that you're a realist and you're negative more times than you're positive. That doesn't mean I don't look at the positives. You can go back on this very podcast 4 weeks ago when y'all were freaking out about before we played the Jets about what was going to happen. And what did I tell you?
Well, first
Who
of all,
was the positive one then?
What do you mean? What do you mean, y'all? Huh?
You for multiple weeks. And then your boys, Anthony and
Eric.
What's his name?
Eric.
Good dudes. But who was the most positive one of your little panel that you pulled?
It was definitely me.
Get the out of here.
It was definitely your boy here, yours truly.
Out of here, dog.
Like O.J. Simpson, yours truly.
God.
Listen.
If you're gonna lie to yourself, I can't help you. So.
Oh man! All right. So
what a day, though. Can we just take a moment for the day?
What a day!
Seriously, it's NFL trade deadline. The presidential election's going on. Like there's a lot of shit today.
I know, right?
And
I know.
I don't blame anybody for not having the mental bandwidth to handle it all. So I just want to say I appreciate anybody who comes in and listens to this, whether it's live with us right now or later on. Because man, what a day! What a day! So
I haven't watched any presidential election coverage.
I turned it on literally 15 minutes before I sat down with you, and I do have it on in the background.
And I can only imagine each party saying that they're gonna win in a landslide, and so I'm not trying to be.
It's one of those where you would do yourself a service to just go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow and see what everybody's saying.
Exactly. That's exactly what I plan on doing. I was more interested in the NFL trade deadline today than I was a presidential election.
Also very interesting. Very interesting. There were teams that were not sellers that were selling. There were teams that I don't think should have been buyers that were buying. I mean, it was an interesting day.
It was. And the Bills come away with no trades, but they did release Mike Edwards, who wanted to be traded. I don't think they found a trade partner or something they were comfortable. So they just let him go. And they also brought back Jordan Phillips, which is surprising. He's just a body at this point, if you ask me. But they brought him back. So
there was a saying that was very popular like 3 years ago. 2020 season was kind of when I remember it popping up, and it's since died down. And I think part of the reason that it's died down is because Sean McDermott has gotten so much hate. But There was a time where we were all saying, and I loved it. Come be the best version of yourself. Coach had said that.
Yeah.
A couple of the players had said that. And it felt like those guys believed it. It felt like they believed that this coaching staff, or I should say that coaching staff, was going to put them in the best situation to succeed on the field, to make money, to take care of their bodies, take care of their families, literally to put them in the best position in life. And you see it from time to time. I feel like it's gotten a little quieter since then. But it's part of the reason that I think McDermott was able to keep the locker room with all the stuff that happened last year. And when you see guys like Shaq Lawson, who keeps bouncing back, and Jordan Phillips, who keeps bouncing back, and Dean Marlowe or whoever, right? Like all these guys who take whenever they're either on their last shot or have nowhere to go, they find their way back to the Bills, and you're like, and then they go and perform pretty well. So I'm excited for Jordan Phillips to come back only because he's going to have something to prove. Like the dude needs to prove his NFL career isn't over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he had that opportunity last year too, and it didn't show well.
But
I
that's
mean, but
right? You're like, oh, I just need a change of scenery. I go somewhere else, and you realize, that's not what I needed.
yeah,
Right? Like,
and there's that too, right? I guess we'll see. I mean, the Bills definitely need help at defensive tackle, defensive end. I
listen,
mean, what he offers as a pass rusher is okay. It's just,
I did not think we were going to open with Jordan Phillips talk, but let
no,
me.
I know.
The guy they claimed off a practice squad, like Zion Leger or something like that. From Georgia.
Yeah.
And an
Zion Logue.
Yeah, whatever. He was awful. I mean, really bad.
Yeah.
And what Jordan Phillips needs to do is be better than that. Now, if this is only a couple week experiment for while Dwayne Carter's on injured reserve, fine. If they cut him in a couple weeks, put him on the practice squad, like he would be he'd be a veteran, so he wouldn't have to go through waivers. But if they cut him in a few weeks and sign him back to the practice squad, fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it can't hurt, right? I mean, they need bodies at this point.
They not only need bodies, they need a little bit of beef. You and I were texting about that earlier today.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just bodies, they need big dudes. And I mean, Jordan Phillips can provide that. He's never been a great run defender, but he's at least a wide body that you can put in there.
I mean, in all fairness, we've been saying that since early in the season that they needed some beef.
And I have seen a lot of Bills content creators make this point, kind of go after it, and it was based off Taron Johnson's comments. You just have to know that this team is not built to stop the run. It's not. Their 3 technique, I mean, how much does that Oliver weigh? You know what I mean? Like their 3 technique
280,
is
290?
Maybe. Right? And that's probably preseason weight, so it's probably more like 275 now that we're into the season.
Yeah.
So they just, and even Daquan Jones is not he's a massive human being, don't get me wrong, but he's not like a pot roast, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And so your linebackers are undersized. Groot is not a wide bottom guy. Von Miller, AJ Epinesa. I mean, I think maybe that's why Smoot was so important to them for a while, but like just not big. They're just not big guys, and they don't load up the box. And you just have to make peace with the fact that that's not how they play defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, though, the run defense has been better in the past, and this year, I mean, there's nothing philosophically they've changed about their defense, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, but I understand that they invite you to run the football, but the run fits need to be better, and you need to get more push up front, especially up the middle. So,
but hold on. I mean, I do not want to have this fight. In 2 games against the Bills, Devon Achane has 160 yards on 34 carries.
I ain't talking about just the Dolphins. I'm talking about as a whole.
But hold on. So just let me
Yeah,
just
go ahead. Go ahead.
Devon Achane, 100 yards rushing on Sunday. Tua was damn near perfect. Damn near perfect. And Achane, I'm sorry, the 100 yards was in the first game. So 63 yards on Sunday. Tua was damn near perfect. He was 25 of 28 for 231 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 3 incomplete passes. And they still couldn't beat you.
That's Miami.
Like it felt like they were ripping off 10 yards a play running the ball, didn't it? It just felt like they were gashing you.
Yeah, it did feel. I mean, it was chunk after chunk, it felt like.
Tua threw 3 incomplete passes. And they still couldn't beat you.
So, okay, with that logic, how's that going to look against good teams like
the Chiefs? It depends what the game script is.
It's going to be very similar to what you just saw. Now they're not going to do all that orbit motion.
This team cannot afford to get down.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all it is. That this team cannot afford to go down by 2 touchdowns. And if they do, it's going to look a lot like the Baltimore.
No team can really, when you think about it.
Well, I mean, listen, there are teams who I think have a more balanced defense. And the Bills defense is not designed that way. The Bills defense is designed to play from ahead. And when you get ahead, it is suffocating. Like, they are incredible. But when a team can just run the ball and just work you, it makes it tough.
Yeah, no, it does. So let me ask you a question then. Knowing what again, this is something we've known. The philosophy of the defense is to bend, don't break. Knowing what we know now, do you think it was a justified move, albeit not record-breaking contract or position setting? Do you think it was a wise move to pay Ed Oliver then? Knowing what we know.
So here's the thing. I personally think that having any kind of pass rush is worthless if you don't have a D tackle to push the inside of the pocket, especially in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
If the quarterback can escape up the middle of the field, you're toast. Doesn't matter how good. It doesn't matter. You can have Aiden Hutchinson, right, Myles Garrett. It does not matter. TJ Watt. If you don't have Casey Hayward in there pushing the middle of the pocket, it does not matter how good your defensive ends are. So I almost to that point think that pass rush from a D tackle position is more important than paying a guy on the outside.
Okay. Yeah, you push the pocket, then the quarterback has to make a decision, right?
But then you can go find guys like Leonard Floyd, right? And have them get Baron Browning, who got traded yesterday. You know what I mean? And have them get 8 sacks, 7 sacks, 9 sacks, something like that, because you provide that pressure up the middle. And so, I don't know. I mean, so I guess I say all that to say, if you're going to pay Von Miller that much money, you better pay Ed Oliver that much money, because Von Miller is useless if you don't have that pressure up the middle of the pocket.
I see what you're saying.
Then you shouldn't have given Von the contract, right? And then you can just build a defensive line that is Shaq Lawson and I don't know, pick another good fat defensive tackle and you draft Groot and you hope that he develops, and Daquan Jones, and you build a defensive line that's more versatile, better at stopping the run, can control blocks a little bit. So when you're saying, hey, we're going to play a defense that's mostly centered on stopping the pass and big plays, that they control the offensive line so their linebackers are free to make tackles. You could have designed your defense like that. You didn't. You didn't. You gave $140 million contract to Von Miller. Yeah. And so then when you do that, you have to give Ed Oliver that contract. Otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah, I mean, you just listen. I mean, I was okay with the signing, re-signing him. You just like to see a little bit more production out of both him and Daquan Jones. We just haven't. I don't think they've been good this year.
Do you?
And it needs to improve.
Let's explore. It needs to improve. Do you think they haven't been good this year?
I do.
Okay.
Tape. The tape tells you.
To gauge your expectations, do you think Groot has been good this year?
Yeah, Groot's been great.
Do you think AJ Epinesa has been good this year?
At times. Inconsistent still.
Okay. Because where I'm at is I kind of agree with you about Daquan Jones. You wonder if it's another year older or if it's coming off injury. But normally D tackles are good for a longer run than most positions.
Mm-hmm.
Casey Hayward, Calais Campbell,
yep.
If you're a dude, you're a dude, and it doesn't matter if you're 40 years old. You know what I mean? Those are just big men that don't move. You know what I mean?
Right.
Athletic freaks. When it comes to Ed Oliver, you've seen him, I feel like, flash here and there. He has not taken a game over, but also remember, he does have a big contract, but he does not have one of the biggest contracts. As far as D tackles go, I actually should look up where it is. But as far as D tackles go, he is not crazy money. And
who Daquan?
No.
Ed. I think he's 13th.
Right.
Something like that.
Right. Middle of the NFL for the number one DT on your offense.
Yeah.
Or on your defense, I mean. Right? If he's the 15th, if he needs to be the 15th best defensive tackle in the league, it means he needs to be your best defensive tackle and be in the top half of the league to make that contract worth it.
Yeah. Hey.
Now, so just to round it out, and the reason that I asked you those questions is, do you think Groot's as good without him on the line?
I do. I still do. I believe in that skill set and what he brings to the table. I do.
Do you think Epinesa's as good without him on the line?
No.
You think we see the flashes we've seen from Vaughn without him on the line? Do you think Smoot and Toohill, who we were on Casey Toohill in the preseason, we're like, why is this man on the roster? But he has played okay. He has played serviceable snaps. So do you think any of those guys are as good without Ed Oliver in the middle?
Nah, man. Nah, Ed's needed. He's needed. He just needs to be better. He needs to be better. At point blank, period. You know what I'm saying?
But that Dolphins game is not a game for him. I think we talked about this the first time we played that.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Gets the ball
he had more impact in the first game than he did this game.
But Tua gets the ball out of his hands in 2.1 seconds or so. It's the fastest in the NFL. And it's his strong suit.
Hold that thought. Let me bring this dude in here. This is my homeboy Russ right here. Now, Russ, Rob, is a diehard Cowboys fan.
Oh no.
He and the Cowboys they're horrible this year. They're terrible. Russ, I saw you commenting in here. Hey, what's good with you, man?
Man, I was hitting you up. I'm on the way to the gym, you know what I'm saying? Sports plug up. But nah, yeah, it's true. It's true, man. We're gonna talk about it. Some new additions tomorrow. We're gonna talk about it, you know what I'm saying? We suck. Can I be a part of the mafia while we suck, bro? Because this sucks, man. There's no way out of it. Like
We do
Jerry
not
Jones
accept
is senile.
Cowboy fans. Sorry.
Hey, there's always
All
room in
right.
the mafia, man.
No,
Y'all need some
No,
Man,
help.
come
no,
on.
we don't accept Cowboy fans here.
I'm not your ordinary Cowboys fan, though, man. I asked the people. I'm the honest one. I told everybody this was coming. Oh, Fart didn't know what he's doing.
Hey, listen, who we need to get on the show is your other boy. Oh, I just forgot it. Jay Spence the King, who was on our NFL preview show and told us all about how Dak Prescott was great and how that Cowboys team was going to dominate. And now they're giving up 4th-round picks for wide receivers.
Mingo?
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here, Big 30? What are we doing, man?
I will say this. I'm Dak Prescott, the quarterback.
Oh, it sounds like we're
Type
losing
of
you, dog.
quarterback.
Yeah, we losing.
You losing me. I'm in a spot probably. Now,
Go ahead.
all right, yeah, I was gonna say there's 2 types of quarterbacks. I'll leave you out to this because I'm in a bad spot, but there's just 2 types of quarterbacks, man. You have guys that can lift their team up. Y'all got one. The Ravens got one, and then you got guys like Baker Mayfield that if you put a lot of, they can challenge anybody. They could, but you have to put the talent around them. You can't even a bunch of guys that nobody knows. Maybe a guy that we used to go deep off, but from the top to the bottom, Jerry. Honestly, I'm more sorry. We go play.
Well, we're gonna see exactly how talented that roster is with Cooper Rush at quarterback. So
Trey Lance. Yeah, man.
Whatever, pick one.
Golly.
And
Hey, Russ, get at me when your service is better because you breaking up.
We love you, Doc.
Hey, yeah. So Cowboys, woof.
Yeah, I mean that was the question mark move of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, man.
Bingo.
Hold
what?
Is it better? No, it ain't. Okay, all right. He gone.
We appreciate him.
Yeah, the service is too bad. Yeah,
But
Mingo.
I mean, what are like Devontae Adams went for a 4th? And you're sending a 4th for Mingo?
Yeah.
That's the solution to your problem?
And you know what's funny is that Jerry Jones was like, yo, we're going to get a wide receiver that we've been happy with, or we really, and it's kind of like this dog and pony kind of gotcha moment. I thought, okay, like when I saw that, I'm like, okay, they're going to go get somebody of note. Like, oh, maybe this is a Cooper Kupp thing or whatever. Jonathan Mingo, Ole Miss, 2nd-round pick.
And like, here's the only to advocate at all for the move. He's still on a rookie contract, so
Dang.
He's cheap. And if you really believe that there's something there, sure, make the trade. It's not just for this year; it's for next year too.
Yeah,
as we try to build that roster, which we've said they're missing that middle class of talent, right?
Right.
They've got the blue chips, and then it's a whole bunch of minimum guys. You know what I mean? And he can be an answer going forward as to some of that middle class. Maybe hasn't shown it yet, but if you believe you can get that out of him, I can see where you would think that would be a good deal to make. But to give up a 4th for it, I mean,
that's tough.
Devontae Adams, right?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, now this is a Cowboys organization that has shown that they can develop. So it's not like, I see the move, but the compensation, I mean, don't you think you could have had him for a 6th or a 7th?
And if you're saying this is a staff that can develop, guess what? They're probably fired at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Are you kidding me? So, yeah, maybe you're saying that this is a staff that can develop wide receiver talent. I don't think it was this staff. I think it was the staff before that could develop wide receiver talent. But regardless, Kellen Moore is with the Eagles. They're 6-2. Dan Quinn is with the Commanders. They're 6-2.
7-2. Yeah, I think they're
7-2.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right? Guess what happened to that coaching staff? They all left. You told them all to leave. And you stuck with Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott and decided to pay him. And here you go.
Here you go. It's a mess. All right. So Let's talk about where we are with this Bills team then, because we kind of went down and talked about the need for bigger bodies or bigger effective bodies in the middle. There were some rumors swirling earlier about getting a defensive end named Jadeveon Clowney. It didn't happen. I guess they felt like they like what they have in the room, or they just didn't want to give up what other teams were asking. We saw Zadarius Smith get traded.
I think it's the second, don't you?
Probably.
Right. I mean, it feels like they were active.
Yeah.
And I know you've got inside sources. I've got a couple. It just felt like they not necessarily that they were just like, oh no, we like our room, we're going to stay pat. It just felt like the right price didn't come along.
Yeah, and we got to be real too. It's not like this team is operating with a ton of cap space. They really don't have much at all. So you're extremely limited. They do have capital, but they don't have the dollars, right? But if they really needed to make a move, they could have made a move. But I guess they're gonna wait till next year. So, and that's fine because this is a good football team. But you and I were talking earlier. It's like need versus I'd like,
Yeah, but you're spending a lot of time talking about the defensive line. I feel this is a dangerous thing to say because you do have the Zions of the world. But I feel like Linval Joseph came off the couch 2 years ago for the Bills.
Last year.
Yep. And he was good, right? Like you just needed a run stuffing DT that didn't move, right? And he was fine. Was he great? No, but he played well enough to get another contract, didn't he?
Zach of all trades says Jordan Phillips season.
It's the emojis that I think are more telling than.
Oh man, it's like we're crying too, dog. We're crying too, man.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you can go find those guys. If your biggest problem is you need to stop, what you can't find are guys that can rush the passer at the D-line spot. What you can find are guys that can stop the run, right? So, like, I don't know. I'm just not so concerned about it. And if it's not Jordan Phillips, they'll get rid of him and they'll find somebody else.
Right.
But the way that this team plays defense, I don't even know how much they care about it. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, if the offense can continue to click, because there's still meat left on the bone, right? You got Keon. Hopefully he, the MRI comes back and he's good to go. Shakir is blossoming into one of the NFL's best slot receivers, yak guys. And then if you could just continue to onboard Amari Cooper, barring injury, you got something here. You got something here where you could put up 30 points a game.
If we're spending a lot of time talking D-line here. And I think there's two positions that I'd be more concerned about than that. And one of them
I already know what those are.
Still wide receiver.
Yeah.
Now listen, I don't have the injury report, right? So Brandon Bean knows better than I do, no doubt about it. But I need to know how bad Cooper and even Shakir is coming off an injury and Coleman's injuries are, because then I would have wanted you to do something today, because that offense, it was fine in the Dolphins game, but it felt like it was without Amari Cooper, right? Like it was more of a struggle than it had been in weeks past.
Yeah,
right.
That's fair to say.
So like Josh has done a really good job these past couple weeks of getting back to what we talked about at the beginning of the season. Take the easy stuff, right? I saw somebody put out, I think it was Sam Monson. Oh no, it might've been Aaron Schatz who put out, both good follows, by the way, put out that Khalil Shakir has an average air yard pass of like 3.1. And the next closest person in the league is like 5.3. Like he's incredibly low comparatively. And it goes back to what we were saying about Josh, that he stopped doing in the Baltimore and Houston games when he tried to play superhero a little bit. And we said he needs to get back to just take a profit, take the easy stuff.
Right.
It's there for you. And he did that again on Sunday, and it led to a win. It was an ugly game-winning drive, but it led to a win.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah, I mean, Josh has done a really good job managing the offense. And I think that, we talked about this in the offseason. We talked about this at the beginning of the season where Josh has to learn to play point guard. He's got to learn how to be a good point guard now. And I think that Baltimore game kind of maybe woke him up a little bit, saying, hey, there's answers. Like Joe Brady cooks in answers. Now he just has to utilize them. And I think, the stat that you brought up proves that, he's playing good quarterback. He's playing efficient football. And the stats do prove and back that up as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exercise in patience. And he had it on Sunday. He had the patience on Sunday.
Yeah.
The question is going to be in January when he's down by 7 to the Chiefs and in Arrowhead, is he going to have the same kind of patience? Because that's when you're going to need it.
In January, let's talk about 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I mean, fine.
Right?
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, where it matters. But yeah,
whether it's the Ravens or the Texans or the Chiefs or whatever, he's gonna have to have the same kind of patience that he has going against these teams that he feels like he knows he can beat. You know what I mean? And he's gonna have to have the same patience against the teams that he doesn't feel like he can beat. He's gonna feel like he has to press.
Yeah. Man, let's talk about pass with that 61-yarder. I'll be honest, like he hit from 40 and 49 to 40 and 48, missed an extra point. So when he was going to match the question though, when he was going up to kick, I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna be good. Like this is gonna be wide left, 61 yards. I'm like, yo, I knew the distance would be there. I just didn't think his accuracy would be there, but he hit it. And I'm like, it's nice that the Bills finally got, on the other side where they hit a winning kick. It was phenomenal. Like he could have hit that from 70. And you just saw after the game, like just, maybe the monkey's off his back. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But I was pretty encouraged by the kick.
Those are just two very different things to me. You feel good for the guy. You hope it's a turning point in his career. You really do. I know he's been seeing a therapist. He's been working on that mental fortitude portion of it. Mm-hmm. So you're rooting for him.
Yeah. Ish.
Yeah. I still can't be wasting prime years of Josh Allen because I can't hit a field goal. So when, he trotted out for 61 yards, Pat sitting next to me goes, there's no way they can let him try this. And I looked at him and I go, distance was never the problem.
Yeah.
If you'd run him out there for the 30-yard field goal, you can run him out there for the 60-yard field goal. I feel like your chances are about the same. It's not about if he can get it there. He can get it there. But long term, I don't know. Listen, he bought himself more time. That's what he did.
Yeah, he did. Being an optimist, you hope that it is the turning point in his career. That is just a mental block, right? That he just jumped the hurdle. But I guess, we'll only know that until we see what it looks like this next week.
Because remember how nails he was when he was confident. And
it
was like annoying how confident he was. I didn't love that version of him. I'm gonna put on the eye black and scream at you and all that kind of stuff. But
I love it. Do it again, please.
But for his first couple of years, he was drilling kicks. Like he didn't just get handed that contract.
Right.
He earned that contract.
Oh yeah.
So if he can get back there, then fine. I mean, do your little chicken dance and put on your war paint, whatever. But yeah, J-Dub just said it. Like, I'll take the eye black if he hits it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. if I can get that consistency from him again, then you can be as loud as you want. So maybe this is an evolution, like you said. Maybe this is him getting back to a good spot.
Man, what? Hey, Ray Davis, man. Hey, he has to get more playing time. The 65-yard catch and run, it's beautiful. I mean, he time and time again, week after week, he is making plays. I'd like to see more of him in this offense. More.
I don't want to see more of him.
Shit,
I want to see more of him until you let James Cook leave and don't pay him either.
Oh, I have a solution for all that. You draft a running back. You draft a mid to late round running back this year,
every year,
and then
every year
you it's a Ty Johnson replacement, right?
Sure.
And then run it out till Cook's gone, and then Ray Davis is your one.
Then Ray Davis gets a year. Then whoever's next gets a year.
Just keep rotating them because I don't want to pay a running back, but
no,
I love what Ray Davis has done in his rookie season. It's nice to see, man. Like if he gets more run, more opportunity. I mean, he needs to improve in the pass game as a pass blocker. I think that's probably why he doesn't get. I mean, James Cook is not very good at that either. But if he could improve as a pass blocker, he'd see even more time, I believe.
But what they are doing is they're setting up protections that are not let's count on the running back to make a block. It's let's make sure that the running back is a quick answer if we've got a free guy coming.
Right.
And it has been incredibly effective, whether it is James Cook or Ray Davis or Ty Johnson. He's got a long touchdown catch too. I really have been impressed, not only with the fact that they are trusting Josh to get that ball out of his hands, right? Because that's a big thing. He's not that guy. He's the guy that wants to hold on to it and run around and see if he can make a play. And through this first half of the year, he has dumped that ball down a large percentage of the time, and they keep scoring on it because these running backs in open space are deadly. And I mean, shout out to his contact balance.
Oh yeah,
on that run,
Cook would have got tackled.
Man, listen, and like he's getting a little bit to the you don't want him in the open field kind of area, because whether it's he's going to shed your tackle or he's just going to make you miss altogether, the dude's not afraid to be behind his pads. He'll run you over too. You know what I mean? Right. So it's any of the three of them. So yeah, I think really impressive. But with us, I hate to say it. Yeah, it drives me crazy. But I'd rather him on the field than like Mac Hollins.
Hey, Mac played good this past game.
He played okay.
Give him some credit, dog.
He played okay.
I mean, I don't want to see Mac out there.
And
I don't.
We need to have a real conversation about Curtis Samuel.
Bad signing. People say it's the injury. I don't think so, man.
Somebody said he was on a pitch count, so maybe I don't know.
He's just not $8 million a year. So we're stuck with him essentially.
So listen, I love Bean. Okay, love him. Great picks. This last free agent class has been a disaster.
Yeah,
you cut one of them today. Samuel has not done a thing. Mac Hollins, I think, did what you expected him to do.
Fine. Yeah.
But Smoot was good. But for the most part, I mean, a really bad free agent class.
Yeah. I mean,
you didn't have a lot to work with, granted.
You can only go bargain bin shopping, and the thing is they've
been what he was so good at, though.
Right.
He replaced our offensive line when he first came in with all bargain bin people. He fixed the safeties with bargain bin people. You know what I mean? Like, that has always been what he was good at, and he really missed the boat on this.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's okay because, I mean, he has a track record of showing that, he can do it. But yeah, I mean, I think anytime you're in free agency, you're overpaying, or you're getting guys that just don't always pan out. And Yeah, I mean, you're to your point though. It needed to be better, and I hope next offseason. I don't know. They're only going to have what 10 to 15 million as of right now, based off the
I think it'll
cap.
be a
Now
little
that
bit more.
it probably be estimated to 30 million, and then that's not barring any moves, right? So they can get a guy or two of decent value. Maybe they can do something about that Curtis Samuel contract, get out of it. But yeah, the free agent class has been pretty bad.
So let's have a real talk about it. Let's pull it to today, because here we are talking about how we've got 3 running backs that we like, right?
Yeah.
How often do you see them on the field together?
Together. Yeah, no, you don't.
Right. I mean, if they run more than one a one back set, it would be the first time.
Yeah.
So we know they only like single back sets. You, at the beginning portion of the year, worked real hard to get Curtis Samuel touches that were, we want him in the open field, we want to get the ball in his hands, and we want to see what can happen.
Yep.
And they have not been good. He had a lot of stat lines that were 2 catches for 3 yards and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why do we not have Ray Davis in the backfield and James Cook split out, and we run those plays for him?
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping
Because
it's a
they've done it
wrinkle
with
that they
Khalil
add
Shakir,
later.
and it's been great, right?
Right.
It's not the play design.
No. But it's like, okay, from an owner's perspective, yeah, we paid this dude this money. I need you guys to figure it out.
That's for the first half of the season. And guess what? We're past the first half of the season. Now
Okay,
it's about
but there's also another variable in there. Like now, they're allegedly turf toe injury. Is he fully healed from that? Only the team knows.
Then sit him down. Because the only way to heal from turf toe, I don't know if you know this, is to not do anything.
Well, he's not doing anything.
Let's see. His contract, his base is hold on. His cap hit this year is $3 million. His cap hit next year is $9 million. His dead cap next year is $11 million. And then you have an out after that. 2 years, $16 million deal, and then it's about $3.4 million dead cap to get out before the 3rd year.
I mean,
so he's going to be on this team next year. He's going to.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no way they have an $11 million dead cap.
They said that about Stephon Diggs.
Okay, but that was a problem in the locker room.
Sure.
A different thing. And I think that's why Mike Edwards got cut. They couldn't find a trade partner. They were worried about it being a problem in the locker room. He was already starting to tweet stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And they said,
gone.
Yeah, we ain't doing it. So listen, I understand he's on this team next year. He can be your 5th wide receiver. Great. I don't care. My thought process is, if I'm running out a package that is Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper. No, that's only one back. So I would probably pull Cooper off the field in that situation. Coleman, maybe. And you put James Cook outside and you run, or Shakir maybe, because you want somebody who can block. So you leave Coleman out there. But and run these Curtis Samuel type, quick hits to Cook. And put Davis in the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I just still think, they're gonna try to make it work this season. And I guess he'll be just relegated to wide receiver 5, or
he was like your one big signing too. 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited about it because I felt like they could really incorporate him in his offense. He'd be successful with Josh Allen, who typically, this is what should tell you, like, okay, like Josh Allen typically improves the play of his wide receivers.
Not only that, but also like Joe Brady was his OC for his best year in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not there.
I would have liked to seen a move for a wide receiver to replace well, not to replace him. He's on the team for 2 years, but just to get a little bit more production. Um, you know, maybe somebody on the outside or who can kind of do both, you know. But hey,
Hey, listen, it felt like this teardown was a 2-year teardown.
depends on what they
And
do in the draft this year.
they took a big portion of that teardown this year, and I think they're going to do another portion of it next year. We already have talked about Von Miller. We've talked about Dawson Knox. We've talked about Tyler Bass. I'm looking at their 2024 active roster. In your top 10 of cap hits, Von Miller's 2, Dawson Knox is 6, Tyler Bass is 7. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's we've talked about this teardown being a 2-year teardown, and we had mentioned that you don't even have that much cap space next year. So when you miss on your big off-season signing,
Yeah.
that's tough. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Dawson Knox is gonna have to restructure that contract if he wants to stay.
I think you will. Don't you?
He needs to be 2 to 3 or $3 to $4 million tight end.
But don't you think you will?
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, he's not gonna. He's the type of guy that's not gonna, talk shit in the locker room. But
That's true.
he's a competitive guy, so he's like, okay, I can do this. And to be honest, I mean, they really haven't utilized Kincaid that much either.
But at a fraction of the price.
Right. Exactly. And he's a Kincaid has a much higher ceiling, is no question. But Dawson Knox, I mean, they got to redo the deal or he got to go. And I just don't know.
16 million dead cap next year.
Yeah.
7 million dead cap the year after that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money. It adds up. It really does. So it goes back to you got to hit on your draft picks. And I felt like they had a good class this year. Already we're seeing some of the dividends of that. But you got to do it again.
So like I'm looking at this list, and like none of your players that matter are in your top 10, top 11 of cap hits. And I don't know, once you get past number 9, do you want to know who number 9 on their cap hit list for this year is?
Who's that?
Kaiir Elam. At 3.7 million.
Sheesh.
Right. Like that's how much cap they've shed on this team. And they still, like, I don't know. It feels like at some point they're going to have a chasm of cap space. Now that probably gets filled by guys like Greg Rousseau, Rasul Douglas, maybe Kincaid if he steps it up. But it just feels like at some point they should have just a chasm of cap space to make a run at the back half here. Because when I'm looking at the top 10 of guys on this list, it feels like they're even going to get rid of some of these guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, yeah, this team is going to be drastically different next year. And I'm not even sure if Milano is even. I think people don't want to say this, but I think Milano is up for a conversation, depending on how he comes back. Like, the writing's on the wall, bro.
Why you got to do this to me?
I know you don't want to hear it, but he's a 30-year-old linebacker who's had 2 surgeries,
29,
2 injuries. He's about to be 30.
He's 29. His cap hit this year is 12.4. Yeah. So here's the other thing. So I get what you're saying. But he's a UDFA in 2 years. Man, I just don't want to take that dead cap. Like I'll take the chance on him coming back, and he has played at an all-pro level. I don't think there's
absolutely
about that. Right. It's just been availability that's been the problem.
Yeah.
This year his cap hit is 12, his dead cap is 29. Next year his cap hit is 16, his dead cap is 17. Third year, his cap hit is 16. His dead cap's 11. So you save $5 million for cutting him in 26. I don't know. I'd pay him next year to see if he comes back and can be the same guy. And then if he's not, then you cut him the year after that. You know what I mean? When there's actually a savings rather than dead cap that you're taking on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Dorian has shown you enough to where you go, okay, yeah, that's Terrell Bernard's running mate, right?
You know I'm the wrong guy to ask about.
But I'm not saying, hey, now I'm not saying Dorian is a lost cause. I mean, he's been up and down the season for sure. But
okay.
I do think that you'd be better pressed to investigate another mid-round draft pick and a linebacker,
or even a high draft pick. I think linebacker in this defense, that middle of the defense is really important. It's important to have a DT that fits what you're doing, and I think Ed does. It's important to have linebackers that fit what you're doing, that can cover, that you can play and stop the run with just two of them. It's hard to find. It's not easy to find, but athletic linebackers where you can have just two of them on the field and they're still effective both against the run and the pass. I think that's important for this defense. And then we've talked about the safeties before too. So down the middle, I think is real important for this defense. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I don't know, man. I mean, the offseason is going to be fun to talk about because I think just like this past offseason, I do feel like, we're at a space where, you're going to have to make hard decisions. You got to make real hard decisions, some tough decisions.
I don't think they're even that hard. I think the decisions you had to make last year were a lot harder. I think the decisions you have to make this year are pretty easy. Right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I think it's Kincaid or Knox is take a pay cut or we're cutting you. Right?
Yeah.
It's Von Miller. It's are you playing for the discounted rate? Okay, then fine, we'll keep you. It's Tyler Bass, not good enough. We'll see you. I don't think the decisions are last year you had to make decisions about Poyer and Hyde and White, and those guys were a part of the turnaround here. This year, I don't think the decisions are as hard. I think it's just needs to be very business matter of fact.
Yeah. Hey, let me give you from a linebacker perspective. Okay, there's a couple guys that I think the Bills should take a look at. Barrett Carter, linebacker from Clemson. I think he's I think he could be that matchup style linebacker that they need.
Draft, thank God. I thought you were going to be talking free agent linebacker.
Nope. Carter. I would take a look at Jay Higgins from Iowa. Another guy that I think has I mean, you talk about range. He's got range. I think he can cover as well. I mean, you have to be, like to play linebacker at Iowa, defense at Iowa, you have to know your stuff. Those Iowa linebackers are good.
Anybody who's in college now playing linebacker, their entire football career has been since the time of Gronk and Jimmy Graham, which means covering tight ends has been part of their life since they started playing. Like it's not a problem like it used to be where like
right.
We don't ask guys to, yes, you ask guys to do that. You know what I mean? Like that is part of your job. So I'm assuming that any guy that gets brought up also has the athleticism to cover tight ends because there's no room for that in the NFL.
Yeah,
if you don't.
But I mean, you have to do more than just cover tight ends. I'll give you one more name that's going to be like, I would say he'll probably get picked 4th to 5th round. Lander Barton, Utah, and we know Bean loves Utah, guys. Okay, he's one of my favorite.
I would feel a whole lot better about him being Howie Roseman and rebuilding the Georgia defense than I would about him rebuilding the Utah defense. I got to be honest.
Hey, that's okay, dog. I mean, look, Lander Barton, dog. He could play that dude, and he's tall. I love it. Tall, rangy, fast. Yeah, man. Give me that. Give me that in the 4th or 5th round, boy. I'll take that any day of the week.
Here's the problem.
Those are just 3 guys I'm going to leave you with today.
The guys, so Clemson, Iowa, and Utah. I'll keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the guys that the Bills like to take at linebacker athletically don't fit the profile. And so,
True. They're more undersized, quick
yeah,
twitch.
but that also leads to them not being effective their first year in the NFL.
Yeah, because
So,
learning curve.
and there's a big one at linebacker. It might be the
Sure.
biggest of any position, especially in that McDermott defense. So, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to get at is I still want to pay Milano. I don't want to turn that into more dead cap space. I'll do it the year after when there's a cap savings to cut him.
But availability, man, it matters, dude. You gotta play.
I'll use one of those second round picks on one of those linebackers and say you're my third guy this year.
Sure, I'll be okay with that.
That is where I want to be living.
You bet. Listen, dog. I know people. I've been telling you, it's edge, it's corner, it's wide receiver in that order to me.
You make me want to jump off a building talking about edge, dog.
Y'all, it's not sexy, but I'm just telling you.
It is sexy. What are you talking about? Edge rusher is the second sexiest position you can draft.
Not to Bills fans. To Bills fans.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Edge rusher is the second sexiest position you can draft. The only position that's sexier is quarterback.
If we put out a poll right now, and wide receivers on that list, people would hit that in a heartbeat.
You better keep putting weapons next to Josh Allen.
You better. Yeah,
you
should.
You should have an embarrassment of riches for that king. Get out of here.
But that's not how they operate. That's not how they operate.
That is how they operated this year. What was their first pick?
Zay Jones.
No. God.
So yeah, there you go.
What was their biggest free agent signing?
An $8 million nothing is what it was.
But I'm just saying
that plays wide receiver.
Absolutely are thinking we need to surround our quarterback with weapons.
Yeah. Zach of all trades says also we need edge.
I knew you were going to highlight that. Of course, it's the one that agrees with you.
All right. So I guess we'll continue this conversation over on Intentional Grounding on my YouTube channel.
You want to hit Colts real quick before we go over there, or do you want to just send everybody over? What are we doing?
I don't care. What do you want to do?
Just quick thoughts on the Colts for the people who don't make it over to one of our channels to watch Intentional Grounding after this.
Yeah. Man. The Colts.
This is the same way I felt about them when they walked into Buffalo and punched you in the mouth 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You should absolutely dominate.
Destroy them.
I mean, you should win this game by 30 points. It should look like the Jaguars game. And I'm not even kidding.
I agree. And I felt that way. I felt that way going into this Dolphins game. Like, yo, you guys should destroy these guys. And I'm like,
with all the trade talk and the offseason talk that I did not know we were going to get into, we didn't even get to talk about this Dolphins game really. And I was going to tell you, man, I was pissed about it. That was not a good game from the Bills.
No, it was not. But I have grace. So let me tell you, there's silver lining in there because you took the Dolphins' best shot. That's the best football they've played all season. And they're a divisional opponent. So I'm like, okay, once I sat down and thought about it, I watched the all 22. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like McDaniels was calling a fucking game. He was in his bag. So I'm like, that's their best shot.
A couple of people I trust that do film review had even said he pulled out all the stops. You could tell he was coaching this game he had to win this game, which he did. You know what I mean? For the Dolphins to save their season and maybe him to save his job, he needed to call the game like that. And they said, fake keys, simulated, you know what I mean? Motions, all that kind of stuff. He was absolutely pulling out all of the stops. I mean, the offense was great. They were right there. But I don't think the Bills played a good game. And if they come out and are that soft against the run, and put out that kind of effort against the Colts, the same thing that's going to happen that happened 3 years ago is going to happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian, you're absolutely right. So Brian just put up in a comment, they played their best game and we didn't play our best game and we still won. That says a lot. It does say a lot, but that's what great teams do. Great teams win when they don't have their best fastball, right? Like that is what great teams do. If you want to be a great team, you cannot afford to drop a game to these Colts because you don't come out ready to play. And I don't know, it wasn't like an effort thing for me. I don't want to bash them too much. It wasn't like they weren't trying, but it was definitely not the Bills' best effort.
No, it wasn't. And but I'm like, okay, like once you take the emotion out, you're like, yeah, they definitely had to bring their best foot forward. And but this upcoming game against the Colts, they really got to take care of business. Like, and this is a trap game too, because you got the Chiefs looming next. So this will show us, I think, what kind of team we have, like from a mental standpoint. Can you come in, avoid the distractions, take care of business?
Well, we'll talk about it more on intentional grounding, but I just think we had said at the beginning of this little stretch here that you needed to get healthy and stay healthy. And I didn't mean injuries, but now maybe I do.
Right.
In terms of the win column, you needed to get healthy before you got to the Chiefs game. And if you got to that Chiefs game at 8-2, you could feel like you had a look at the 1 seed, regardless of if the Chiefs lost the game or not. I think it's still there for you. I do think the Broncos have a shot this weekend to beat them, but even if they don't, even if Kansas City comes in undefeated, if you put a loss on them, you still have a look at the 1 seed.
Yeah.
So it's important that you don't lose focus during this week. And the other thing is, Houston lost. Houston lost.
Cooked. They're cooked.
The Ravens lost. So now the 2 teams that you lost to, both are in the rear view mirror.
Got to stay that way.
Back up.
Yep. Got to stay.
Don't let them catch
stack
back
good
up.
performances.
Yeah.
Okay. With that being said, if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to Inside the Trenches right here on the Rumblings Podcast Network. Man, I'm excited for the offseason. I ain't gonna lie. I'm excited to
so much excitement for this season.
I know. Oh, I know. But I just love the offseason. I love talking draft. But yeah, no, man. Let's see what these Bills can do. Everything that they envisioned before the season, I think is still in front of them. They're one of the best teams in the league. I want to see what that Chiefs game looks like. That's the test. Like, and we'll talk about the Chiefs in the next hour. But what a game! What a game the Chiefs had, man. It would look like all their other games. But yeah, we'll talk about that more on the next hour. But if you have been watching the show, man, we really appreciate the support.
Tell them where to come find us, dog.
Yeah, you can come find us. You can come find it on Twitch. You can find me on a YouTube channel. Rob has a YouTube channel that's also linked. Rob T Radio. Rob, is your Twitch handle Rob T Radio as well?
No, unfortunately, it's the only one that I have that's not.
You want to go ahead and drop that real quick?
It's just Rob Trujillo, and it's going to be hard to spell, so you're better off going to Twitter and finding this right here and giving us a follow, and we'll retweet from a couple different sources that we're on for that broadcast if you want to come find us there.
All right, man. With that being said, shoot, man, I guess it's time for us to get up out of here, huh? What you think? We're going to have to do that. I'm going to have to cue this music up, and we're going to see y'all next freaking week.